preview, this is Ysabel Ortega and I'm going to show you my everyday makeup routine and some tips on how I do my makeup so that maybe you can use it for your makeup routines too. So usually I start with primer, but I don't really use primer when I put on makeup when I'm not doing shoots kasi hindi naman din ako talaga makapal mag-makeup. So usually I just use moisturizer and I love the Clinique Moisture Surge because it's just hydrating and it gives a good grip for your face. So usually I just do one pump and then I put it on my face. So I just love this because it's not hot because I know that there's some moisturizers that when you put it on, it's really thick. But I like this because it's water-based and it's the best. So while we let that dry a bit, I'm going to move on to showing you guys my foundation. So I also love Clinique for my face because I kind of have sensitive skin. But I also love to use Laura Mercier. It's their tinted moisturizer and it's oil-free. And I usually combine these two. So I put it on my hand and then I'm just going to mix it together. And then I dot it on my face. I'm going to use my beauty blender and then I'm going to mix. So siguro yung tip number 1 ko is don't be scared to mix your foundations lalo na if hindi kayo makahanap ng perfect shade nyo kasi our skin is all different. There's no one perfect skin tone. So there's not, or there isn't always a perfect foundation. So if you can't find the perfect foundation for you, then find 2 foundations na pinakamalapit sa skin tone mo and then you can work with that. So I'm gonna add a little bit more around my eyes and mix that with concealer. So I'm gonna dab a little bit, just blend it in the eyes a bit. I have really dark circles and usually what I do about that is I use color corrector. So I use the Charlotte Tilbury color corrector in Fair and it's pale. So I use this before I put on concealer para lang mabawasan yung layer ng concealer na kailangan ko ilagay sa eyes ko. So usually color correctors are more on the peach side and nakikita nyo na yung difference with my eyes. I'm gonna put on color corrector on the other side as well. If you have dark circles like me, I feel like this is a good tip. Invest in a really good color corrector kasi a little can go a long way. Lalo na pag nagki-crease kayo under your eyes, it's a really good tip to start off with a good base first. So now we're done with color corrector. Now we are going to move on to concealer. So I like to use the Chanel concealer in B10. So I'm gonna grab my concealer and I'm just going to put that here. And then I blend it like this. I usually like to blend down first and then to the side. And then I try my best not to put it too close to my eyeline or as much as possible. Hindi ganon kataas. I'm gonna put a little bit more here and then a little bit on my eyes as primer. Just here where it's dark. Alright, we're done with our base. Now we can set our foundation. I'm going to grab my Chanel loose powder and I super love this powder kasi sobrang light niya and sobrang fine ng powder niya. So sobrang favorite ko tong gamitin. We'll get some. Use my beauty blender for my eyes. Just like that. I don't like leaving it on for a whole time, but I like to cake it on when I set my under eyes because I always crease on my under eyes. And then just a little bit on my T-zone. Sometimes I notice that I also have hyperpigmentation here around my mouth. So before I set that area, I just like to dab it as well. And then set it with powder. For the rest of my face, I'm going to use a brush. This is my Real Techniques brush in 100. So I'm just gonna set the rest of my face. But I avoid this area kasi later we are going to put some glow. Next is contour. So you've seen what I've been using as my mirror. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. So I just like to grab my Makeup Forever dual-ended brush. I like to use an angled brush, and then here's my third tip. If you're contouring, usually what's best is if you contour at your cheekbones, not at the hollows of your cheekbones. Because if you contour at the hollows of your cheekbones, sometimes your face can look worn down. But if you put your contour here, it's really going to lift your face up. So I'm gonna put it at the cheekbone, blend it out a bit, and then on my forehead. Now, usually when I do shoots or when I have taping, Voltas 5, and also right now what we could be, I usually do my own makeup. And I've been doing my makeup ever since I started, which was 7 years ago. And I really feel like I learned a lot from the makeup artists that I worked with about how to do my own makeup. So I feel like I was able to build my confidence in doing my own makeup. So anyways, when I contour my nose, I like to use an angled brush. So I like to look up when I contour my nose, and then I just follow where the shadow hits my nose. It may seem a little bit heavy, but I'm gonna blend it out, guys. Don't worry. So just blending it out with my fingers to make it look more natural. Next is my kilay. I absolutely love strokes. So I have the Brow Sculptor Duo. This is in warm brown. I also have the Micro Pen Perfector in bronzite. So I am going to brush them up first, get them to the shape that I like, and then let's go ahead and fill it in. I usually start by creating brush strokes at the top, and then I start with the tail, and then I connect, and then I fill in the rest. I usually like to build it out slowly. So once I have a good base, I blend with my brush. So I'm gonna do the other side. So now I'm done filling in my brows. We're going to use the Micro Blade Pen Perfector for the sparse areas. So it's just the same, but this is more precise. So I just finished with the Brow Perfector. It's like a pen. I'm gonna go now with brow gel. So I also use strokes, and this is the brow colors. It's a clear brow gel, and it's the best because I don't trim my brows. It's really long, so I have to brush it to the side a bit. And then I go with the other side. So now we can move on to the eyes. So I usually like to go with really neutral colors. So I have these two palettes from BLK Cosmetics. I think this is their Daydream palette, and then this is their Love Story, and I usually like to combine the browns in this. So first, I'm gonna start with my Hoola bronzer. So I usually use this as my base when it comes to my eyes. I usually blend it to my crease, but then when I get here, I don't blend it there. I usually just go to my eyelid. I don't go past my eye. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the other side, and I'm gonna blend it to the crease as well, and then down back to the eyelid. Next, I'm gonna go in and dip into my BLK palette. So I usually like to use this shade. I'm just gonna go at the center of my eyelid just to build in that coverage. And then I like to go with this other shade. It's much more warmer. It's like more orange, and then yun yung nilalagay ko here sa my edge. Kind of just fill in this like diagonal area close to my eyelid just to make it look full because I don't have even eyelids. I don't usually focus my dark colors here. It's usually here at the outer areas. I also like to go with my lid pop, and this is Clinique, and it's in Petal Pop. And I usually just like to put this in the middle para lang may konting shimmer. Like that. Just a touch. Next, we're gonna go with our liner. So I usually like to use pencil or gel liner first. This is the Clinique in Smoky Brown. I usually just line my waterline with it. So after I use my eyeliner here in the waterline, I also drag it here. So usually I do this first. This is how I create the fox eye look that you guys usually see on TikTok. And then I like to use my liner, and then I just slowly go and make a flick. Once again, we're doing it here. Tug your eye a bit, open your eyes, and then look down, and then flick. And then if I want my line to be a little bit sharper, I go with my Strokes Microblade, the one that I used for my eyebrows. However, I would just go over it a bit. So now we can go with mascara. So I'm gonna use my eyelash curler. It's from MAC, and it's the best. I curl my lashes. It makes such a big difference when you curl your lashes. Curl your lashes, guys. And then I usually curl it one at a time because once I curl it, I usually like to go with mascara right away. And this is the Maybelline Hyper Curl Mascara. It's waterproof, and it's the best, guys. Ilang beses akong umiiyak sa mga eksena, and it does not smudge. So guys, this is tried and tested. I don't end up looking like a panda whenever I finish one of my crying scenes, so it's good. Now, to give myself that fox eye look, when I put on mascara, I don't go up, I go side. So I usually start with the end of my lashes. I first go up, and then once I have a good coat, I go and drag it to the side. Make sure to curl the other side. And then we're gonna go back with our mascara. Middle to the end, and then drag. I usually like to give a little bit of color to my under eye, so I'm just gonna use my bronzer. Nothing else, nothing too dark. And then I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a shadow. Now we're done with that. We're done with our eyes. We're done with everything. We're gonna go to our blush. Now, usually people like to use cream blush, but I'm a powder girl, so I still like to use powder blush. And this is the Dior Backstage Blush in Rosy Glow. So it's kind of a peachy look. And I'm going to grab some of the blush, and I'm going to focus it on the top where I put bronzer first. Just a soft brush, and I like to pinch my brush a bit. So now that we have it here, we're also going to put it here in this area. I really like the look and where it looks full talaga. So once I go here, I just put a little bit here under as well, just to give it that kind of drunk blush look. A little bit on my nose. Now that we're done with our blush, I am going to go with my lips. So I usually like to use my Burt's Bees lip balm. And I've already put some before I started my makeup, but I'm gonna put some again because my lips get very dry, so I usually put it on top of my lips. And then I'm going to use my Sunnies in Vacay. So this is the Sunnies Bluff Mate, and it's really good. But usually what I like to do is I just like to dab it on my lips. So before that, I'm gonna start with my Charlotte Tilbury lip liner, and I'm just gonna put it here. I don't go over it, I just like to define my cupid's bow a little bit, like that. And then I like to go here as well, here on the sides. And then we can go in with our Sunnies. So I usually like to use my hands. I usually like to pat it on because I feel like it gives the most natural finish. And I don't like using lip brushes, I don't like harsh lines. So I like to use my Glossier Dew Effect Highlighter in Quartz, and this is the best. So I'm gonna grab my Halo Scope highlighter, and I like to go and swipe it here and then blend out on the other side as well. And then on my nose. And then I like to get some, put it here, other side. And then lastly, just here at the corners of my eyes. Of course, we're going to finish it up with setting spray. I almost forgot my setting spray. This is my MAC Prep and Prime Fix It setting spray, and usually I just like to go over my face a bit. So shake it up, make sure it's good, and then spray. This is my final tip. When you put setting spray on, don't just leave it be, because you're gonna have droplets of setting spray on your face. So if you want it to be more even, just grab yourself your beauty blender, a side that you haven't used, and then just dab it in place, just to make sure that the makeup melts. And there you have it. I am done with my everyday makeup look, and I hope that you guys learned a lot from what I did, and I had so much fun doing this because I love makeup, guys. So this has been such a good opportunity to show you guys what I do. So thank you, Preview, for having me. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Ysabel_Ortega. And of course, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to Preview's YouTube channel. And thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much, and I hope that you liked this video. Bye!